Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Monday morning trading room. Let me get the screen share going on. I apologize for last week's inconvenience, not being able to host the room Thursday, Friday. Unfortunately, this week it's going to be a little bit more of the same. I've got some early appointments I need to get to. I'm going to need to cut today's room a little bit short. But Tuesday, Wednesday will be as usual, but unfortunately, I will not be able to host the trading room this Thursday, Friday. Just so you know, I will be reminding you as we get closer to the dates as well. It looks like, just looking back over my charts briefly, Thursday's session was rather neutral, but Friday, the market in a real tailspin, and so far, the market fairly neutral through the overnight. You can see a lot of back and forth and a relatively quiet start to the morning for a Monday morning. This, of course, here on the Eagle Trend Trader. Don't really have a signal per se. There's a bunch of signals printing here. Whenever you get a lot of signals printing, regardless of the tool, if you get a lot of signals printing at the same time or within a few minutes of each other, that tends to tell you the market's not really ready to do much yet. Here on the Hawk, you can see a lot of yellow bars. That's also showing a relatively neutral market. As with the Falcon and the Raptor, everything's still very much in a sideways drift. So we'll just kind of stay with them here for a few minutes, see which way they choose to tip, if they choose to tip over one way or the other, or whether the market's just going to stay in this sideways grind. All right, we've got a little first micro-macro cross going here in the Hawk. So far, maybe a slightly more bearish tint on the day, but we're back also here toward the lows of the overnight. You can see a really, really tight little sideways trading range. People are always asking me, hey, Eric, how do you trade a sideways trading range? Well, really the best way to trade it is to avoid it. And for the benefit of those who have not heard, I'd like to wait for the breakout, or here's the safest play anyways. Wait for the breakout, look for that retest, and then look for the market to signal that it's ready to stay outside of the trading range. Same is true for the short side. You'll get these breakouts, you'll get these retests. Sometimes they'll happen quickly. Sometimes they will take quite a while to develop. Even up to, the hours sometimes. Sometimes it would be very long, protracted pullback to retest. But you will get the retest eventually. So that, knowing that you're going to get the retest, that kind of takes some of the pressure off of trying to get this original breakout, because the breakout may not hold. The problem is you'll get the initial breakout. You don't know how big it'll be. Could be a tick, could be 100 ticks. But when you get this pullback is what's going to tell you all about how serious the breakout is. If the pullback comes back and kind of settles near where the breakout occurred, or maybe even a little bit into the prior trading range, you're okay to anticipate the next leg higher. However, if this breakout retest goes deep back into the trading range, well, then that tells you that breakout was false. Had a good trading friend of mine who always used to say, never trust a breakout. And that was his whole thing, is there's too many false breakouts. There's too many traders just looking, too many sell orders up here, too many traders looking to short the market, looking for that quick little breakout, try to trap some traders into a bad position. So that's something to bear in mind. Right now we've got a little bit of a bullish attempt here. The bottom end of this trading range is much easier to spot than the top end. The bottom end, of course, right down here. The top end, well, it depends how you want to draw it. If you want to be a little bit more conservative, you could take it right up to here. Why there? Well, because that is the retest of the breakout from this trading range here. See how that happened? The market broke out, came back, retested, gave you a sell signal, and then it continued a little bit lower. This is what I mean. You don't need to worry about those initial breaks, because if the breakout holds, you will get that retest. And this is where we're at right now, just kind of back and forth. Well, I'll leave that on there for now. I'll know that once it gets outside of that gray zone, then perhaps the market will be entering a trend mode. Here on the Hawk, we've had a couple of opportunities. It looks like we had a first micro macro cross here that hit its target. Oh, we did have another one back here, kind of piggybacking with the macro pullback signal. Got a really quick first micro macro cross here. So there are some signals, but given the sideways nature, you're probably going to be better off just grabbing your profit when and if you have it. You can look here at the daily ranges for the NASDAQ. Lately have just been huge. 550, almost, well, just over 740, and about 683. So we're expecting some big ranges here from the NQ. Anthony's asking, hey Eric, why doesn't the chat show as a group chat? Two reasons, Anthony. Reason number one, most chat rooms that share the chats, it tends to get very distracting for the room participants. And the second reason is I don't know how to do that. There have been other requests for sharing room chats, but yeah, I don't know how to do that. Okay, we've got a little bit of a breakdown here now through the bottom end. And this could be interpreted as a retest. You see that little bit of pushback. This is a very, very quick retest. And this will be true across the board now on all our signals. So here on the Raptor, we're getting a continuation signal, right? We got the number one signal just prior to the breakout. This now, the retest, will come back with just a regular continuation signal. It would be nice to see a hard edge bounce. The Falcon was producing a sell signal. Now it's turned over. So we're watching that retest of the breakout, and we'll see whether or not it holds. So far, no. Now, if you want to attempt an early sell, now that the market is broken down, if you think the sellers are going to pull this market lower again, you can take an early signal here. We are into the hard edge. It's going to be a little riskier, however, than waiting for, a signal to develop a little bit later, one that shows a little bit more commitment, perhaps. These sideways sorts of trading days can be very difficult. All right, well, they're holding. It's not impressive, but they're holding. All right, so here now on the Eagle, we're getting a green bar sell. This tends to be a pretty high probability signal for the Eagle, but it's also a continuation signal. The signal just printed. Now we're getting a bit of a second push opportunity. The second push, all that means is we allow the signal to engage. I'm not going to risk 2 full contracts on that just yet. It seems a little bit iffy. But on the second push, we allow the signal to engage. We see where the signal flinches, and then we can use that bar as our signal bar. So I would be looking to re-enter this trade when and if the market continues lower from here. Yeah, Anthony's looking for a big downtrend today on the NASDAQ. 64.48, Anthony says. Well, it could be. That whole 64.50 area was very, very sticky a little while ago. All right, here comes yet another green bar sell. And you can draw trend lines across here as well. If you wanted to take advantage of this signal here, you could perhaps enter, on a trend line break, something like that. Still not all that impressed with the market, given that we're still inside this trading range. Nope. Nope, they're not looking to sell just yet. We're right back in the heart of this trading range. So to me, that invalidates this breakout. That tells me the sellers not really ready at this point. Sometimes what will happen when you get those kinds of things going on is that the market may actually end up rallying. But, we still got this big sideways trading range to deal with. I'm not sure I want to get too excited about a buy just yet. Of course, having said that, just watch the market take off here like a shot now. And maybe I should be looking at the hawk because the market's so sideways here. I should just take a few scalp signals. Oh, there's an interesting signal here on the Falcon, a trend change / late filter entry. Notice how nice and flat the trend line was. Trend line not changing color, filter going out of sync, coming back into sync. This is practically a textbook signal right there. You see those signals happen on your Falcon, that's almost as good as putting money in the bank. Those very rarely fail. Anthony says the market's going to trend sideways for 12 hours. And then at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m., an aggressive move to the downside. Maybe. When if the market doesn't go anywhere in the morning, it will tend to do something toward the afternoon. I try not to be too predictive with the market. I find my worst days are when I approach the market with some sort of bias, because what I find it does, to me anyway, is it blocks me from the alternative. If I approach the market with either a very bullish or bearish opinion on the day, I may be right, I may be wrong. I have a 50-50 chance. But if I'm wrong, then let's say I just keep looking to sell today and the market decides to rally. Well, obviously all my sell signals are not going to work out. I may end up, the upshot is I may just end up taking a lot of break-even trades, or I may actually end up incurring losses. So I try to take a little bit more of a reactionary stance. I try to look at the market and try to keep an open mind. The market will do what the market will do, regardless of what I think it should do. That is for sure. All right, it's looking like we may see a little bit more of a bullish break at this point. We'll see if we get a retest somewhere through here. Hey, way to go, Dan. Dan says, I was able to crawl out of a hole Friday with that signal. That would be that late filter entry signal. Yeah, if you wait for it, like I said, it very, very rarely fails. It's not to say it won't hand you a stinker every once in a while, but it will usually be in this kind of mess. You know, when the market's just going sideways, you see you're getting late filter entry signals here. Like here's one. But you can't take these signals in a vacuum. You can't ignore everything on the left side of your chart, right? If you look at a chart like this, and I do get emails from people saying, hey, Eric, that stupid late filter entry signal you told me about didn't work. Well, they send me those emails and then they never send me a screenshot or at least a timestamp when they took the signal. Because if they did, if they looked at this late filter entry signal right there, and they wrote me and said, hey, Eric, that late filter entry signal didn't work, I would say, yes, that's right, it did not work because the whole context of the chart is sideways. You're throwing a dart here. You know, it may go up, it may go down, but you got to take the whole context into consideration. As a loose rule of thumb, a late filter entry signal tends to be a continuation signal. It will tend to develop once a trend or something resembling a trend has developed. Now here it actually piggybacked on the trend change signal, but you can see even as this one was developing visually, we had a little bit of an uptrend developing. Right? We had a higher swing low. We're trying to make a higher swing high, albeit a small one. Another higher swing low. So things are starting to get a little bit more of a bullish flare. And that actually had a very nice move. So I think right now we can almost be a little bit more bullish on the market. If you're the aggressive type, I'm looking for a pullback now or something resembling a pullback. Let's see just how big this trading range is. Yeah, that'll probably do. I'll throw a line up here just to show me where the overnight high is. And there it is right there. Wow, look at them go. Well, this might be, now that we've broken out of the big overnight range, we may actually just see a retest back here to this 65.27 area. That's why I highlighted the overnight high. If we get it, wow, the buyer's making a very, very strong move there. Out of the open. Is opening range over yet? No, not quite. Close. Okay, here we go. Here's a little bit of a retest now. This is actually a pretty good little training session that we have going on here. We'll look for the retest and then we'll look to see whether or not they can stay out. Problem with these ranges when they develop this way and you get these larger moves, they get really difficult to cover. Here at the Hawk actually already giving us a counter trend opportunity with a red bar buy signal that we could look to short the failure of. Now, I'm not a big fan of counter trend moves, but these types of signals tend to develop near the end of a trend. Well, you can see that we've had a fairly pronounced move here. And since I am looking for a retest, I don't know if the retest will come here or if it will fall all the way back here to the hard edge or maybe even 65.10. Like I said, very aggressive type setup. On the Raptor, now that we're seeing a retest on the Raptor, you're going to get a number 2 signal if this continues lower. So for you Raptor traders, you've got the high, you've got the retest. If this continues lower here and it prints a red warning dot and a red signal, that will be your counter trend signal. That will be your number 2 signal. Unless, of course, the trend just continues higher. There they go. All right, well, no harm, no foul on that. There we go. All right, well, here they go again. A little bit of a retest. Ooh, here comes a second red bar buy signal on the Hawk. Now, the first one, very often you'll get a continuation. The second one, almost guaranteed to fail. Now watch, I said that out loud. The market will continue higher. Oh, there's nothing like trading to keep you humble. And what I'm going to try to do is I'm actually going to try to run this out if the market continues lower. Okay, another little retest now. And I'm not looking for a major move lower. But I think, that retest that I was talking about, I think we could get that. So let's take a look here back at the Eagle. So a move back here somewhere around the 67.27, pardon me, 65.27 zone is going to put us back near the hard edge. The Hawk now also producing a first micro macro cross lower, which is typical of a failure of the red bar buy. There's the number 2 signal that we were anticipating on the Raptor. The Raptor second cloud also at that 65.27 zone. And here now the problem with any counter trend signal is the market trying to resume the trend. All right, come on, there we go. Okay, so 65.27 was sort of my target. You can see I've got a break even just past that swing low right there, because the market will tend to react or try to give a reaction either shortly before or shortly after. No, they're not ready to commit just yet. Come on. The uptrend's still really, really strong. These lows down here, if we can break this 65.32 zone, we should get a little bit of follow through. However, if the market obviously trades back here above the 65.48, 49 zone, in fact, I'll give it a couple more ticks, just not to crowd the trade. No, there they go. They're going to run it. So what's happening now is we've got ourselves another little sideways trading range. Oops, wrong tool. Let's try this one. Another little sideways trading range looking something like this. There's the breakout. Here's the breakout. Here's the retest. Yeah, we're still, look at that. Still just really sideways. We had that big move a couple of minutes ago. That very likely may turn out to be the move of the day. All right, here we go. We're going to make a run at 65.32. I may have to pull my break even just a little bit further. Oh, look at that. That whole 65.32 area holding so far, but I think we're going to get a little bit of a breakdown. And 65.27, the first target. After that, we will look to 64.93 half. That's where the primary resistance line is. That would be a rather big move. I might get a little bit more aggressive with my profit taking at around 6,500. Wow. Okay, somebody get in there and short 65.32. How many times are we going to hit this price level and not get a breakdown? Oh, I'm so tempted to start bringing my stops in. All right, I'll be patient. Yeah, David says I'd get out of this trade now. You may be right, David. The overall trend, obviously, still up. There is such a thing as a proper stop, however, and for this trade, the proper stop is right up here. Once we break down below 65.32, if we break down below 65.32, I can be more aggressive with my stops at that point. They're trying. They keep nibbling at it down here, but so far So far, nobody's made the commitment. No, they're just hanging tough so far. The buyers really not giving the sellers much room. All right, well, we'll just leave that alone for now, as the market still in very much a sideways drift. You see, they still owe me a retest. I'm not sure I would consider this a retest, even though 65.32, 1, 2, 3 solid hits at that level. You know there's buying there. All right, let's see if they can break it this time. There we go. Okay, a little bit of a breakdown, and I should get my break even at this point. I'll bring it up a little bit. There we go. Got the break even trigger. Oh, my, didn't enable. There we go. And I think I'll get ready with parabolics if I can ride out this swing now, this little breakdown to the short side. Oh, come on. After all that. Sometimes it helps if you hold your breath. See what I mean? Well, the buyer's digging in, so obviously the market still very bullish. Oh, wow. At least it wasn't a losing trade. And you can see we're back here. This I would now consider a retest, a breakout and a retest. right, another run up. Are the buyers going to hold on to the market, or are they going to lose their grip this time? Spending a lot of time waiting. I know I missed the bigger move up, but I was looking somewhere else at the time. Well, look at that. The buyers losing their grip. Wow, what a balanced market. I know a lot of you aren't fond of OCO type orders. That stands for one cancels other. But you could do an OCO order here. You could certainly bracket this market. You could look to short below here. Now remember, when you use your OCO orders, you engage it and then you right click to enter your orders. And these orders are live as soon as you put them on your chart, so that you can move them around wherever you think. You do not use the set prices button to set your OCO type order. And honestly, at this point, it's probably as good a bet as any. And I'll look to short here just below that. I'll look to buy just above the high. Just a crazy, crazy range here. A reminder for those of you who got into the room a little bit later this morning, I apologize. This week, kind of a carbon copy of last week, I'm going to have to cut this morning's room short at the bottom of the hour. Tuesday and Wednesday rooms will be during their normal times, but no trading room Thursday or Friday, I'm afraid. And then hopefully the week after, everything will be back to normal. Well, Stephen makes an excellent observation here. Steve says, if you don't know the direction of the market, maybe you shouldn't trade. And you're absolutely correct, Steve. That is always the best course of action. Unfortunately, when you're a trading room moderator, sometimes you feel like you have to do something. Everybody's sitting there watching you saying, why aren't you taking a trade? Well, because there isn't one worth taking. This is the kind of situation, though, where I can see a breakdown below the lows, especially given all these rally attempts. I can see a breakout below the lows actually getting a little bit of traction, maybe not huge, Like I say, perhaps a move back here to 6,500 would be a great move, would definitely be a home run. But when you're looking at it, a market like this, and you get the big rally up, you're almost always better off buying. That's the immediate trend. Yes, the market's going sideways right now, but you really can't go wrong or too far wrong just looking to buy. But here we sit, just watching them drift sideways. Next stop, by the way, if we get a bullish break, 65.67. That would put us at the next resistance line, and you can see how well this resistance line has held the market up to this point. That support and resistance sweep, that's something else. Well, they're pretty content to trade around the 65.40 area. They're not moving too far off that mark, at least not at the moment. So what I'm seeing is repeated attempts to rally, repeated attempts to move the market lower, and of course, neither succeeding. So the market's either going to continue in this sideways drift, a bullish break seems more likely, given the trend. here we go. Okay, I think I'm going to hold my stop just below these lows right here for now, because I know that's obviously the stronger of the trading zones. Oh, come on. Getting these breakouts and zero follow through. All right, gang. Like I said, I got to close down the trading room a little bit early here this morning. Tomorrow will be the normal trading room as Wednesday. No trading room Thursday, Friday, and then things back to normal the following week. I will talk to you tomorrow. Have yourselves a great day. Bye for now.